Hello everyone, my name is Paviel, or you can call me Pavi for the duration of this video. There's one thing about me that you all may not know, but I've been crocheting since 2012 and I've only been knitting for less than 2 years. And a lot of times I'm very puzzled and I make things up as I go along and deal with my mistakes along the way. So I saw that I was able to make these beautiful socks that I wanted to share with you all. And because they're made so simply, they are very easy for any beginner, any intermediate person, or any person who just wants to know how to make socks without heels. Now, I know where you think I'm going with this, and you're probably right. What I'm focused on here is just plain old tube socks that are going to be knitted. And what I'm showing you here is my decrease where all this is a rib stitch, okay? And then knitted all the way down in stockinette. And then I start to decrease towards the toe. And then I fold the sock together and then I sew it. That's all it is. So it's a knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. And then once I get a long enough, coverage for how long I want my sock, very simply, then I start to do the stockinette. Once I do the stockinette stitch, which is, of course, you're going to knit one row and then purl the next row. And you keep doing that all the way down. You could do this on straight needles, of course. And you keep going all the way down until you get the length that you want of your sock, whether or not you want it short or long. And then you start to decrease where you feel comfortable decreasing. That's why I said this is a mindless sock, okay? So if your feet is funny shaped or you want to start decreasing a little bit higher up or lower down, it's totally up to you. There's no such things as anything being perfect. The only thing you have to worry about doing is simply knitting. But a lot of folks, they get very discouraged when it comes to socks like me. And even now, I've seen people do socks on videos, and I always happen to check out. Literally, my mind checks out after about 4 or 5 minutes after seeing so many new needles. And then after my mind checks out, then literally my finger checks out of the video because I'm just like, I'm totally confused, dude. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, with that being said, because of that reason, I felt that you all needed to know, how did I get to these simple pair of socks and to make it as less complicating as possible. So, as you can see here, and sorry you all for my bad editing, but as you can see here, I'm doing the purl stitch, a purl row. So I'm alternating. So I'm doing a knit one row, and then of course I'm purling the next row. And if you all want to know how I did my decreases, let me start from the beginning really quick as you all watch me knit a little bit here. So this is for large feet like mine. And I have a foot size of size 11 to 12 in women. So what I did was I cast on 50 stitches. So you want to cast on 50 stitches to your knitting needles. Now I like to use the shorter needles because when I purl, it's just easier for my fingers and my hand, and I don't get the thread all caught up and the yarn caught up with all my needles, or my two needles anyway. I usually use the shortest needles that I can, as long as my stitches are not going to all be falling off. And as you guys can see right here in the video, I'm actually casting off at this point. And this is where I messed up. You guys don't know this because I had already finished the other sock. But on my second sock, I was not supposed to cast off because I didn't do the first sock that way. And so it came out a little bit funny looking than the other one. But then once I sewed it up, put it on my feet, it all shaped very well. So I cast on 50 stitches. This for a large sock. You got a smaller feet, you want to probably do maybe 40 stitches if you have a medium feet, etc. But I did 50 stitches cast on. Then I started my rib stitch, which is knit, purl, knit, purl. And in the beginning, I didn't understand that. So let me be a little bit more detailed with beginners who are like, wait a minute, that's where I always get confused and my ribs don't come out right, whatever. Okay, now I'm finally unconfused too as well. When you cast on the 50 stitches, And just like you were going to do a garter stitch and you just want to start knitting, the only difference is that when you start the row, you're going to start on a knit. Most of the time you're going to end with a purl, but don't think about the ending right now. Don't worry about that. Just think about the beginning. So you're going to start knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one, until you get all the way down to the end. Then when you flip your work, again, you're going to start on a knit. Don't start on a purl. This is where I got confused in the beginning. Just continue doing the same thing. It's all mindless. Knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, all the way until you get the length that you want of your cuff. And then once you get the length that you want of your cuff, then you're going to start the stockinette stitch, if I'm pronouncing that right. And you're going to do the row next after you're done making like all that you want for your, the first part of the sock. Then you're going to start the stockinette stitch and you're going to go ahead and you're going to knit one row. So knit all the way across, knit, 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 knit all the way to the end. So it's not confusing for anybody. And then when you flip your work and now you're on the reverse side, so you're going to flip around. Now that's going to be your inside of your sock. That's how you always know that you're on a purl, is because that's going to be the inside. On a stockinette stitch, you're going to know that you're on a purl because the inside of the sock is going to look like reverse clothing. So any type of clothing that you have on and it's reverse, you can tell that it's the wrong way. It's opposite. So you're going to knit a row, then you're going to purl a row. You're going to knit a row and purl a row. And you're going to keep doing this all the way until you get down to the length of your actual foot. However long you want it. You might want a short sock and you don't have to knit purl so much. You might just have to knit and purl a little bit. Me, I have like big feet and I like my socks to be long, so then I could double the cuff like you all saw when you clicked on the thumbnail. I like to double them like that. Okay, so I made mine's long, but you do not have to do yours long. This pattern can fit for short, long, whatever, and whoever's feet. After you get down to that and you get down to the length that you want, that's when you want to start to decrease. And what I did was, and if you don't know how to decrease, I would suggest that you look up a decrease video just in case, because I don't really go into decrease in here too tough, but I decreased 2 on 2. So I put 2 loops. I hope I explained this good. I put 2 loops onto the needle and then I knit those 2 together. So I knit 2 together, then I knit 2. So knit 2 together, knit 2, knit 2 together, knit 2, and just like that. So 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. So knit 2 together, then knit 2, then knit 2 together, and keep doing that for maybe about, like you see here, it starts to get a little pointy. You start to do that until you get down to, the pointiness that you want. So it kind of gives that toe part that you see there, that little curvature. Then, as you all know, most beginners know this part, so I won't detail too much and make you guys look all crazy now, like you guys don't know what you're doing. But you want to go ahead and thread up your yarn needle, okay? And then, because I did this second one a little bit different, I'm just showing you all how I kind of pulled the drawstring and how I kind of tightened up the toe. But the first one looked way better and it did not look this pointy. But it turned out to work out just fine once I put them on my foot, like I already mentioned. So I kind of made like a pull string at the top of the toe by simply, as you can see here, I'm about to connect the end together on the right hand side. So I'm going to connect that. And then I'm going to start to go around. I don't know how to explain this, but if you watch the video and just pay attention to it, you can see what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to kind of pull it like as if you were making a hat. So you guys kind of got my drift, and that kind of pulls it together, makes a little toe. And after I make the little toe, then I'm going to use that same string on the needle to come up on the side and start to sew up the sides of the socks. I learned the sewing technique actually from another YouTube video that was showing her grandma how she knit a seamless seam. And all my knitting stuff, I'm telling you, the seams, is so obvious that the seams are there. Now with the first sock, I'm just like, yeah, finally I got the seam. It's pretty cool, you know, like finally it doesn't look as bad. It looks a little invincible. So I was very proud of myself. And that's why I'm like, yeah, I got to share this video. Somebody can know how to do it too as well, because I know, trust me, I totally know the frustration of trying to do a sock and then thinking, oh Lord, do I got to do a heel and then a gusset or whatever they call it? Like, I don't know how to do these things. I don't have time for this. So this is the easiest mindless socks that you can do and finish. Now, if you work on it all day, you probably, I'm saying all day like as if you don't have anything to do, but you know what I mean? Like if you work on it like for like 2 days, you'll be done with it. If you're doing other things in between, if you're a person who just likes to knit and you're like focused, like I like to knit too, and I'm totally focused, but I have other things that I need to get done at the same time. So very often enough, I'm like, yo, let me put this down for a little bit and I'll come back to it. But technically these socks, I think, can take any knitter about 2 days, 3 days if you consistently work on it. So here, when I'm stitching up the side, what I'm doing is I'm going at a diagonal. You see the way I'm turning this needle? So you don't want to go straight across. No, because then it's going to look real like, oh. You want to go at a diagonal. So watch this really quickly so you can know what I'm saying here. And it gives a really, really nice seam. You want to stay on the same side like I'm about to do, and you want to go into the next, jump the next loop, okay? And then you're going to come diagonal on the other end through the same one. So essentially you're making like a S shape as you're sewing up the sock. You're going around in an S shape because you're never going to come straight across. You're always going to go at an angle, okay? And then when you're on one side, you're going to start on that same side and start a new stitch. So you're going to jump to the side like I do right here. Once you go through there, then you're going to go through the place where you came out of at an angle and pull the string tight, and then go into the next one and keep doing the same thing. Now, if you all happen to mess up on this part, do not beat yourself up. You're going to learn throughout, just like I'm learning, as I'm learning day and day more and more about knitting. Don't beat yourself up when you look at your seam afterwards and you're like, oh man, yeah, I can still kind of see it a little bit. It's all good, man. Nothing's perfect. And on top of that, this is your artwork. This is your artwork. There's nobody else's artwork. It's not going on anybody else's feet unless you're making it for somebody. And even if you're making it for somebody, if they're not appreciative on just what you gave to them like it is, then maybe that person didn't need to receive your hard artwork and your hard stitches, because every single stitch you did with love and every stitch made a difference to your cold feet, to the feet that you want to cover up. So you just keep going along and doing the same thing. You do not have to make little small stitches. You can make them about medium to large, but you don't want to make it too large to where the seam is not going to be closed up enough. You got my drift. So you keep doing this all the way through and just keep sewing all the way down. Like I'm showing you here with my finger, just sew all the way down here. And then once you're done, sew up your little ends, your little loose ends that you have. Like you see, I have some there. Sew them in, blend them in as much as possible. Turn your work inside out, and there you go. You have 2 socks, straight tube socks that are so comfortable that you can wash and have for years. And it's mindless, dude. Totally, totally mindless. You don't even have to overthink this. These socks are comfortable. These socks are beautiful. Look at these socks. Look at them. It's like, yeah, and my daughter is laying down in the background with her feet in the video too. It's all good. But these are comfy. These are very comfy. Analyze these really good. These are comfortable. You can also fold them down. Look at this. You can fold them down. Hang out in your house, throw on your slippers, whatever. Your feet are going to be cozy. People think that people don't wear socks in the summertime. Yeah, people wear socks. There's my daughter. But yeah, people wear socks in the summertime because sometimes at nighttime it gets cold. But these are really, really nice socks. I really, truly appreciate you all being here. I hope you all make these socks. And if you try them out, please leave a comment below. Have a beautiful and blessed day.